morning, everybody. My name is Frances Castaneda-Dice, and I'm president of the Houston East End Chamber of Commerce, and it's an honor to welcome you to our Feel Good Friday episode during COVID-19. And today, like our other past Feel Good Fridays, is going to be extra special. I know that you're going to leave inspired, and you're going to leave with color, and you're going to leave with ways that you can give back to your community in the art scene. It's my honor to introduce you to Gonzo 247, and then also to John Abodeely with the Houston Arts Alliance. They have some wonderful things to talk to you about in the arts world that you may or may not have known, and it may inspire you to even have your future get into arts during this COVID-19 period. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to John so that he can start his presentation on the Houston Arts Alliance. Thank you, John.
Hey, everybody. I think I know a couple of the attendees. Gloria, I know you. And Baltimore, I know you too. Thanks for joining us. And thank you for letting me present in what is an old thrift store t-shirt. This is my new normal, and I leverage it. So I'm going to talk quickly about everything that's going on at the Houston Arts Alliance, mostly related to COVID and how we're trying to help the community, the arts community in particular, respond. The Houston Arts Alliance is a nonprofit that was set up by the mayor of Houston about 12 years ago with a bunch of philanthropists. And we were given a couple of city contracts to run its investments in the arts in Houston. So we give grants and we run public art projects. And then we raise a little bit of private money on the side for work to help out artists and nonprofits. So for example, we have a disaster response program we launched after Hurricane Harvey, and that's been going strong lately. So the arts in Houston are a formidable sector of our economy, not only a critical piece of the quality of our community. It's over $1 billion in economic value every single year. It's 26,000 full-time equivalent jobs, and it generates millions of dollars in government revenue. So we like to say that the arts are a sector that needs to be treated with respect, that needs to be supported, both economically and for those sort of psycho-spiritual reasons that we all participate in the arts, because it makes us feel connected to our fellow humans. It makes us feel less alone. It's how we realize visions for a better future. Next slide, please. So, as you can imagine, the pandemic has been devastating to a lot of our organizations and our artists. At least 75% of our artist contracts have been canceled. That means starting in March, there are hundreds, if not thousands of people who have lost their income. We have projected hundreds of millions of dollars in lost donations, lost philanthropy, and most of that, however, is lost earned income, because many of our arts organizations rely on things like ticket sales and admissions costs to make their budgets. Most of their work is self-sustaining. And with museums shut down and theater seasons closed, performing arts organizations and venues shut down for up to a year, they're looking at a tremendous loss in income while they try to steady their ship, keep their teams employed, and support the community of their organization. Thousands of jobs have already been lost. As you've seen, a lot of the unemployment numbers have been pretty abysmal. And we've been concerned about the stability of our artists, our gig workers in particular, as the COVID pandemic continues, their ability to pay their bills kind of decreases. So in response to all of that negativity, what HAA has done is amassed a new response system to try to help folks through each one of these particular problems. So next slide, please. So I say collective response. I wrote collective response on the slide because HAA is working with 12 other organizations. We're actually now up to closer to 20. We've expanded the circle to talk through twice a week how we are each responding and how we support each other's efforts and what the community needs from us. And it's been an invaluable collective because it obviously has made me a lot smarter. This group of leaders getting together is making better decisions than I would alone. But most importantly, our reach into the community has been broader and bigger. We do have some East End reps in that circle, I'm happy to say, and we have together launched a relief fund. So when we say ensure arts professionals can access basic needs, we've raised almost $300,000 now. There'll be a couple of exciting new announcements about that emergency relief fund. And we are sending out stipends to artists, gallery workers, nonprofit employees who may have been laid off, folks who've lost hourly jobs maybe in the arts, because many of our arts organizations employ folks on an hourly basis and have had to decrease those hours. And we are giving them stipends so they can meet their basic needs like food, housing, childcare, healthcare, the kinds of stuff that, because we couldn't access unemployment very quickly, because Texas didn't have an unemployment program for contractors until recently, this fund was needed to help folks kind of bridge this period of time before the public sector stepped in. So we continue to send out those stipends, and on my last slide, you'll see a link to how to apply if anybody needs money or wants to give money. There's a item right there. But if I could ask you to go back one more, and I'll just keep talking through what the collective is doing to respond. So we also, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, I hope you'll do so. Every week we're sending out curated resources, heavily curated resources to help organizations and artists navigate this particular pandemic. So everything from flowcharts about how you access unemployment or how you might access a loan or other public assistance, to the phone number you call when you can't pay your electric bill to get help. To ways that artists and nonprofits can digitize their content and then monetize that digital event. Because that's a big pivot that everybody is making. And I gotta say, the arts community has been absolutely heroic. I have seen almost every single organization in town figure out how to take their work and do it online. So they're continuing to create this phenomenal value for the community, to create community, to create social cohesion, and to keep even the economic driver of the arts happening, even though we're all stuck in our houses for the most part. So that's really been phenomenal. I mean, we've seen a lot of creative responses from drive-in movie theaters to Axelrad's drive-in music production to help people stay socially distant and stay safe while they still get to be together and while they still get to experience creativity the way that we all love to do it. So we're trying to help folks navigate a lot of that, to recognize their creativity and their resilience, as well as to help them improve it as they pivot and make new programs. And then we are in a dialogue with the community, because I got to say, I've pitched a lot of ideas of how HAA might be able to help, say, a mid-sized arts nonprofit. And when I call them mid-sized arts nonprofit leader, they tell me that that's the wrong idea. So our biggest job, probably our most important foundational work, is to listen to the community. And so I invite any single one of y'all to contact HAA and tell us what you want from HAA right now. We need to hear from you, because we don't want to waste our time or our money or our efforts on the wrong thing. So a lot of research, a lot of dialogue. And finally, our biggest motion, and the thing that we've heard most from the community, is that they need us to advocate for them. So who is kind of banging on the door at City Hall or the county judge's office to say, don't forget about the arts, don't forget that we're an important piece of the economy, and that we are critical to a competitive business landscape as quality of life makers. But most importantly, we're the heart and soul of the city. We're the creative engine. We are the conscience and the visionaries. And so we're continuing to communicate with our elected officials in the hope that they will develop programs and services with us in mind. If not for us, then at least inclusive of the arts and the artists in town. So that's what we're up to. And I want to thank Francis for all of your work and your team, and for inviting me here today. So there is the link to the relief fund. You can donate at that link. And if you need to apply, please do just scroll to the bottom of the screen, and there's a link to the application on that same page. So that link will take you to both the donation page and the application. And then finally, we've been starting to host these monthly town halls for anyone in the community to join, to talk about what our isolated and lonely and anxious experience has been and how we can support each other. You can find out about that if you sign up for our newsletter. Our newsletter will also have those curated resources I talked about. So I really hope you'll join a town hall if you want to connect with your fellow creative professionals and others in town. Or just sign up for our newsletter if you want to keep posted on everything we're doing to try to help the community through a difficult time. And that's all I have. Thank you, everybody. I'm looking forward to hearing Gonzo's presentation.
Good. Well, we're going to ask you a couple of questions
Oh,
from the
sure.
audience, and then myself too. So, John, how I know that you're working remotely, and I'm so glad that you're safe. And I hear you have a puppy, and at the very end, I hope you can bring that puppy back on to show us.
Totally. I
But how
will.
is how is all of your staff doing? And is everyone working remotely? And as a leader of Arts Alliance, how has that changed?
So everyone's working remotely. We were fortunate that we had made a series of changes kind of in prep for potentially remote work. And so my team, I have a team member named Joseph Killam who runs the executive function, who does a lot of project management, and he was able to pivot us really fast. So we were very lucky. I know there were a number of businesses, not just in the arts, who took a little while to figure out how the remote stuff was going to happen. So we are working remotely. I will say this, I will just acknowledge this and say this out loud because I think it's helpful to hear. Like, this is hard. Like, I am stressed out all the time. I'm not sleeping great. I'm probably drinking a little too much, as you can see, my wine's right there, but like and I'm relying on a lot of people and this kind of purposeful human connection and going on a lot of walks and doing some exercise just because it's like this day to day, like, all right, let's get up and get to work and try to rebuild this world that's falling apart around us. It's just like, there's this like this like back and forth between like feeling the stress, which is real and which everyone I talk to feels, and then like, muscling up and clamping down and getting to work and rebuilding. And I think everyone on my team is doing that. And it's hard because we oftentimes feel like for all of our efforts and all of our work, and it's just not enough because we can't stop this train wreck from happening. We're just trying to slow it down or pull it back a little bit. But the most heartening thing to me, the most sort of spirit filling thing to me, is when I get on our town halls and everybody is in the same Zoom room for a few minutes and I see all these beautiful faces and they're smiling and they're still working and they're still getting up every day and we're all in this together. And it absolutely just brings tears to my eyes. And I think if I can be so bold as to say, I think I speak for my entire team when I say like all of our energy and all of our inspiration and all of our resilience is coming from those faces today.
That's beautiful. I've got a couple of questions here. The first one is, someone asked, where did I get my t-shirt? And I'll talk about my t-shirt at the very end. But the second part of that question is the Arts Alliance planning anything for the community to heal? Is there a discussion about how to begin again together with the arts?
Yeah. So what I can speak for is to say how we are helping the arts professional community, nonprofits and artists. And then what I can talk about, so let me expand from there. So HAA is doing, with this collective of other organizations that includes the cultural districts in town and Houston First, Dance Source and others, we're sort of putting together resources. We've done webinars, Facebook Lives about how to digitize your content or fundraise in a pandemic. And we have been trying to help people navigate public assistance because this problem is of a scale that private philanthropy cannot match, right? So we need the government. We need the federal government, the state government, and the local government. We're trying to connect people to resources there. And then the second thing, there's kind of that's like this technical problem, but the town halls and these phone calls we've been making to org leaders and others have been this other type of healing and this other type of solution finding, which is just connecting with each other about how difficult this is and what do we think might work, and sharing our experiences and sharing our ideas and sharing our thoughts and growing better together has been a really powerful tool. And we will continue to do that because we're hearing from the community as we talk to them that they need leadership and they need advocacy and they need each other. And so while we don't have brilliant solutions, this is like we're stumbling around a pitch black room and we don't know where the furniture is. We've never dealt with this before, but when we talk to each other and we listen to each other, it makes it work better. It makes it easier and it illuminates a little bit more. So there's a technical stuff. Sign up for our newsletter if you want all this technical stuff, and come to the town hall or call my cell phone if you want this other sort of like the human connection part, because I think that's become a really critical piece for everybody.
Great. And we're about to bring on Gonzo, but I just wanted to thank you, John. Your leadership, it's been a year and a half or 2 years now?
2.5 actually.
2.5 years,
Yeah.
and you just took it by the horns and have made such a positive impact to the Houston Arts Alliance. And we're about to bring on Gonzo, but I just wanted to thank you, John. Your leadership, it's been a year and a half or 2 years now.
2.5 actually.
2.5 years,
Yeah.
and you just took it by the horns and have made such a positive impact to the Houston Arts Alliance. So I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm also impressed that you have also shared your cell phone with everyone, and that's just a great leadership. So thank you for that. You're available 24/7, and that leads into Gonzo 247.
That was awesome, Francis. That was awesome.
Good. We're going to bring John back at the very end for group final questions, but it's my honor, Gonzo. You're one of my favorite persons on the earth. I think you're one of the most creative persons, most generous persons, and for those who don't know you, this is a great opportunity for them to hear from you, how you got started, and other great things, and what you're doing during COVID-19, how you prepared for it, how your family's doing, and then we're going to bring everyone back together to close it. So Gonzo,
Awesome.
Take it away.
Well, thank you, first of all, for inviting me to be a part of this. I think it's important what you're doing with the East End and via this awesome way to communicate and to share this information. So thank you. I'm really honored to be considered as a guest. Can't wait to circle back with John. We have a lot to catch up on, especially with the little puppy.
I know.
But, there's a lot of things that John said that were great points. I really love the work that HAA is doing. And it is hard to see, the art and the creative sector of the city, going through what we're all going through. And I think, typically like art in general, the art scene and the art world it falls in that category of like when people have budgets, they factor in, they got to pay their, whatever, their mortgage, their car payment, they have all these things to do. And then, in that budget that's left over, that's usually where they say, okay, we have this amount, let's go buy some art, or let's support this, or let's do that. And so, unfortunately, a lot of times when you have this constraint of budget, the arts usually is one of the first things that people say, well, let's just let that part go. And so it's important to me to do what I can to help, shake things up so that other artists in the creative field here in Houston can also be a part of not only lifting ourselves up, but also maybe even steering the way to making this economic rebound. What I've always noticed is that when you have a really healthy, thriving arts economy, that's a really good sign that everything else is falling in place. When the artist can be successful and the artist can really make things happen, that really just says that everything else is happening. Mm-hmm. On that same page, a lot of times artists themselves, when they stay creative, when they stay moving, when they stay just being productive, that helps kind of chisel that way back to that environment where everything else follows suits, because a lot of times the art really leads the way. And so for me, I've been really fortunate, being an artist born and raised here in the city. When I was coming up as an artist, a lot of what's happening now and a lot of resources that are here today, wasn't around. And so it was a little different scenario. Houston was a different place to be. And as a young artist, I remember, not knowing where to go to get information. I remember, having to find out, how to maneuver, through this art thing. And so I being born and raised in the East End, I coming out of this, I really felt the need to I guess, somewhat pioneer this graffiti and street art movement and help be a part of this, establishing this genre in Houston. And so I've learned a lot of great things along the way that I'm always, wanting to share with other young artists who might not know how to navigate. One of the things that really, from early on, I got involved with a lot of arts organizations from, the Orange Show, Diverse Works, Lawndale, Mother Dog Studios. There was a lot of great resources that I had to go out and look for. Currently, and for a while in the past, I've been working with, Fresh Arts. And, like HAA, Fresh Arts also has a lot of great programming that they're doing in these times to help artists kind of navigate these unprecedented times. And, there's live webinars. What I really like is, like John alluded to, that I think this whole COVID thing has really, everyone says this is the new normal. And I feel that a positive take from this is almost overnight, everyone kind of had to figure out how to grab this business model and turn it into something I can do full-time online. And I think for artists, everyone started to create things that were sellable online, or figuring out how can I open up a store on my site. And I think in the long run, as they say, this might be the new normal. I think that being able to figure out how to have that presence and this revenue generating mechanism online, once this all clears, that portion can still, continue moving forward, so that then it's kind of a win-win where you can get back to practicing your art full-time in the real world, but also have this new thing that was kind of forced from necessity that can continue to bring in a revenue stream for you. But again, I think now more than ever, there are a lot of more resources that people can turn to. And I think that really says a lot about the city. It says a lot about, our leadership, that they care enough to exist in this environment, and to really go out of their way to put information out, to even get the information and put it all together and have it available, so that younger people and artists, and really anyone that is in the creative field, can really figure out, like, I've talked to people that don't know, where do I go to apply for a grant, or where do I go to apply for this funding? And, you have these organizations that can help and assist, and hopefully that money really gets down to the people that need it. Mm-hmm. I, on a personal level, have also been doing my best to stay busy, to put working in the studio. And then thankfully, before the COVID and shutdown happened, I did have a couple projects that were in the mix. On the screen now, you'll see on the bottom right, I had this homeowner who bought a new house, and they had a pool, and they had this fence that kind of wasn't jiving. And they were like, hey, what can we do to really brighten up this area? And thankfully, the first thing they thought of was art. And my personal art is always full of color. So I gave the fence behind the pool some treatment and kind of livened up the space. And then also, thankfully, I had this ongoing project that I just finished in the East End, right on the corner of Canal and Jensen and Navigation, kind of where all that's at. And this was a partnership with Frost Bank and Culture Map. And I love the messaging of optimism starts with you. And I think now more than ever, in these times, that message, it's really something that we can all live by, because it is sad and it is hard to see what's going on. But if you kind of let that guide you, then you're going to spiral into this other direction in life. Whereas if we're all optimistic and we all say, look, we are the change that needs to happen, it comes on us as individuals to do our part. And then collectively, if we all do our own part, then we're all going to help to change the direction of all this, and we can all come out of this in a positive way. And so for me, I am more of an optimist, and I like to spread that message and really encourage other people to keep looking on the bright side and really make things happen for themselves and for their community. And as an artist, a lot of times when you create, it's something that you can do to really let that emotion out. And then and the cool thing about it is that, then you have something tangible to share with an audience, whether it's online or when this blows over, something people can actually come and see. So I'm really grateful that I have, the friends that I have and these organizations that are available, because again, I think it's something that we all bring to the table. That way we can all share and benefit.
That's wonderful. Gonzo, I love, and I think I'm going to go take a picture next to that optimism starts with you, because I see that you're in the middle of there. And was that purposely done to where people can insert themselves?
Yeah. So, for me, the idea, like I said, is that, positive energy, and my thought process is that, you harness that energy with you. And so, it emits. And so when you are positive and when you're optimistic, that also can be viral and infectious. And so the mural pretty much is that idea that all of this can come from you, so that you can come and interact with the mural, take a photograph with it, and then kind of show how you're doing your part to also have that positive outreach.
That's great. And then the picture on the top right with the black background, is that another project you did?
Yeah, so that's actually, that was a commission for an office space, and the client wanted something for his new office and wanted something really bright and colorful and something that represented Houston. So I have my iconic view of downtown, and then the astronaut, and in the bottom in the graffiti style says Houston. And so again, it's something that I could, this was something that was happening kind of on the on the verge of all this going down. So I was happy that this was able to happen, and then he was able to have this up in his office. But again, so going back to the new normal, I think for artists, staying creative and figuring out how to work now, I think if you can figure that out and get a good grasp on that, as we move forward, that this is something that we can make the best of, worst case scenario.
And we're going to bring John back on, but I wanted to, this is Gonzo's contact information, and we'll have all this on the link below the video on the web after this. But Gonzo, we heard John mention that people are going online to sell some of their things. Have you done that? And I noticed that you have this beautiful necklace around your neck. I'd love for you to tell us about that, and then maybe can people buy that online one day?
Yeah, so we have also used modern technology and been able to put things online for sale as well. I think that there are people out there who really do have the means to help, and I get people all the time say, "How can we help?" And a lot of times it's people are asking me, "How can I directly help an artist?" And thankfully, there are a lot of artists who are putting their work online, and myself. I was putting work online, and people have been so generous to say, "Hey, I want to help out. Let me buy a print, or let me buy a small piece of art." And so it's really just having something that I can share and I can have available for every walk of life. And I'm really thankful that people have gone out of the way to really pinpoint and say, "I want to help an artist directly." So, for if anyone out there also wants to just help with all this, definitely check out HAA, check out fresharts.org. There's a lot of great organizations that are really helping to put, funding in artists' pockets. And as far as the necklace, so, I got into, graffiti and street art in the 80s. And then in 1990, I had this idea of kind of creating this necklace, and it's actually made out of individual spray nozzles. I don't know if you can see that, but
I can.
So I made my first necklace in 1990, and then I've been wearing it ever since. And the best way I can describe it is that this has kind of become my own personal talisman, and it helps to ground me so that no matter what crazy adventures I have in life, or no matter, when great things happen, this helps to ground me and remind me that, hey, you were once this 13-year-old kid with this idea of being an artist. Like, don't let the things go to your head, and just kind of stay grounded. And what's interesting is that, I'll make a necklace, and then one would bust. And so I'd make another one. And kind of in the last 25, 30 years, I've accumulated these various necklaces. And so now I'm kind of looking at the idea of putting an exhibition called My Life Around My Neck, which is what I title these necklaces. And it kind of chronicles my journey through graffiti and street art through these necklaces. But what's interesting is that, I've saved every nozzle off most of the cans I've used since 1990. So I have like Ziplocs full of them. And that in itself is an interesting thing to look at. Hopefully we can put all that on display at some point.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so good. And then we're going to go ahead and bring John back on if we can, so we can ask a couple of questions together. We've got one for both of you guys. Welcome back, John. So both of you guys, the musicians who are artists as well, have been hit hard financially due to the COVID-19. Are there any recommendations for these artists to receive help online? Any thoughts to that?
Yeah, so they should definitely apply to our relief fund, which you can find on our COVID site. I can type that. I typed into the chat. I can type the link into the chat. And then the website I will put in the chat has a listing of other emergency funds that these artists can access. Some are national, some are local, or some are discipline specific. And then finally, and this is the strongest message I could deliver, Private philanthropy will not be able to meet this need. So please think of these emergency funds as a bridge to get somebody onto unemployment. And 1099 workers are now getting unemployment from Texas Workforce Commission, thanks to the Federal CARES Act. So push them to apply for these funds. We're trying to turn around our money as fast as possible. And then we have resources at this same URL to help folks navigate unemployment and TWC bureaucracy, et cetera. So they can get all that info at our site, but know that like there's these private funds for short term and the longer term support will come out of TWC.
And
Great.
so then to kind of balance, you know, from my end as an artist to a fellow artist and creative, you know, again, stay productive. So like a lot of musicians are starting to create and perform online and do live streaming. Every major platform now, you know, you can live stream and then you have a virtual tip jar. So there's other mechanisms. Again, it's like you could go and do your best to receive the funding, but at the same time, don't let that stop you from performing because you want to constantly just create and put out content because you never know, you know, you're live streaming and someone new might hear who you are, and then that could be, you know, a good connecting point further down the line.
And to jump on that, we've actually got a grant program. It's a tiny amount of grant money. It's up to $2,500. Open now. There's a deadline coming up, and that's for digital programs. So all of your artist friends should know about that. Sign up for our newsletter. We'll be sending out alerts about that, or you can get in touch with me and I can link you to it, or it's also on our website. So apply for that now to put yourselves back to work too.
Good answers, you two. Another question is, we've got Marilu Garza with the Center for Pursuit, and they're opening up here in the East End on Harrisburg, a new building. They're looking for artists for their new building, and who should they contact? John, would you like to start? Because we know how to get a hold of Gonzo.
Yeah. So you've got two options. If you're looking for something real specific, we can do some intros. Gonzo's a board member at Fresh Arts, and Fresh Arts and Gonzo could do some intros. If you really know what you want, you're only looking for a couple of folks. If you want to open it up and have people contact you and share their portfolio or something and do something more like a public call, we can put a URL in our newsletter, and Fresh Arts can do the same. And that's probably the fastest way, the most efficient way to reach a large number of artists to say, hey, here's an opportunity for you.
Great. And then we have a really great question. This is for both of you guys. So how have you personally been managing with the home life during COVID-19? And what was one fun thing that you have done lately? Gonzo, we'll start with you.
Oh, me? Or sorry,
Gonzo.
me?
Oh, you want to start with me?
Yes. Gonzo.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I misread that. Okay, so like, you know, I have, and this might be a great segue, but my wife, my family and I, we have a soft spot for, you know, stray animals, stray dogs, stray cats. And so, you know, during this whole thing, I actually, right before the shutdown happened, I happened to see a little dog running across like 4 lanes of busy streets. And, you know, I had to stop, make the U-turn and pick up this little puppy. And, you know, we've been fostering him. Side note, we already have like 4 other dogs. And so we were fostering the puppy and we're trying to figure out, well, what can we do with it? And lo and behold, thankfully, you know, a member of the art community stepped up and say, hey, I'm looking for a dog. You know, maybe someone out there has one. And sure enough, we can segue to Mr. John here.
And so introduce your new baby.
This is Larry. We've named him Larry because he looks like a Larry. He is a 12-pound Chihuahua mix, and thanks to Gonzo and his wife, he is now a part of our family. Gonzo saved him from a skin and bone street life, and we are going to spoil and pamper him now. And he's already dominating. This 12-pound beast is already dominating my 70-pound hound, so he rules the roost. But he is a welcomed addition to the household. He's been really awesome.
And we didn't even plan this, didn't know that this was going to be a connection between you two. And I just love the way the universe works. We are in this together, and somehow or another we do come together for this.
Yeah.
But I have another question here for both of you guys. Do you have any recommendations for art activities available for parents during this time?
I know that there are a lot of artists and groups that are starting to create these downloadable coloring books. You know, there's a lot of content out there that you can just download, print out, and then have your kids go bananas, you know, filling out, and then you can circle back around and then start posting these coloring book pages online. Also, you know, being able to put art, you know, on your window in your neighborhood, and then have like this virtual gallery scene where you drive by and look at the different things in people's windows. So I think nowadays, you know, people are again using this opportunity to stay creative and figure out really cool and unique ways to make and create, you know, whatever's in your mind. But, you know, for artists, it's like people say normal, and then it's like for artists, like I think our artists have always been abnormal, and that's what makes them unique. So I think like, let's make this new normal our normal, you know what I'm saying? So everyone can come together and be a part of this new beginning.
I love that. I love that.
And there's some great, there's also some great programs coming out of the MFAH and Contemporary Craft. Some of our great big theater organizations are doing family programs as well. So I'd say check out your favorite art form or your favorite arts organization. There's a really good chance they've got something for you and for families.
That's great. And a couple of our folks that are watching, Gloria from Barrio Dogs wanted to say thank you to Gonzo for rescuing that dog, and you, John, for adopting him. And yes, I think it's a great idea. Barrio Dogs can be on one of our future shows. And then we also had someone else listen to, I know both of you may have heard of Emancipet here in the East End. It's a wonderful clinic for dogs, well, for animals. And they have amazing vets there and just the workers there. So that's just, if you don't have a vet, they're just recommending that you maybe come check them out near the Gulf Freeway. Cool.
That sounds great.
Great. And then I don't think you got to answer anything you're doing for fun while you're in COVID-19 quarantine. John, we'll start with you.
My probably most fun is I've returned to baking. I've got so much time at home now that I didn't used to have, that I have found my favorite cookie recipe and my favorite brownie recipe. And I've also learned how to make sourdough bread, which is very exciting to me.
It's good. I love sourdough bread. My hips don't like it, but I do. And you, Gonzo?
You know, for us, we have a senior graduating, you know, 2020. And so for us, it's been really fun just to see her finishing that last chapter of high school and getting excited to the next part of her life. And so, you know, for us at home, again, there's never a dull moment when you have dogs, and we have a bearded dragon lizard that we let roam around the house freely. And so there's never a dull moment, to say the least.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, we're getting ready to the close of this, but I wanted to, someone asked about our t-shirts, and I would thank you. The next slide. I just wanted to bring this all together. The Houston East End Chamber of Commerce believes in the arts, and we were very fortunate years ago to receive a grant. And that first picture on your left is a piece called Autoflora by artist Amber Eagle. And those flower petals are actually Volkswagen hoods. And her and her husband put this together, welded that, and it's here on the corner of Harrisburg and Lockwood, next to the CVS. So the next time you see that, just remember that that was an initiative by the Houston Arts Alliance, and that the business community got together. The next two pictures are actually cube arts that we worked with Gonzo to help us lead, and that was another grant that we got through Complete Communities, the City of Houston, and the Houston Arts Alliance. And these are at the corner of, also actually nearby by the Baker Ripley on Harrisburg. And it's just, we just encourage all businesses to get behind the arts. They're desperately needed in our community. They help make us beautiful. They help make us sane, and they give everyone a voice. And these projects were done with students along with artists, and it's a way to bring your whole community together. But this t-shirt that I'm actually wearing right now, it's East End Strong, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. But we had a contest. Our Talia Cavazos, who works for the East End Chamber, designed this, and we had a contest, and this is the one that won. And these t-shirts are going to be sold on our website, so we'll have a link next to it. But we just highly encourage you guys to support local, do what you can for all of our businesses, our restaurants, our arts, and together we're all going to get through this. And then last but not least, our website does have links to other resources, and we'll definitely put the resources for the artists on there, but there's other ways. If you are having trouble with loans, let us know and we can help you with that. We have an East End Strong Facebook page. Please share your opportunities on there, your online store, so that we can all make sure. I'm going, probably broke shopping at everyone that I see, but it's worth it because it all comes back to us. And then I just wanted to close with, 3 words that I've learned: patience, kindness, and victorious. And I think we all should be more patient with people during this time. I think that we should have more kindness to kids of all ages. And I think that we can be victorious to our vulnerable, and those vulnerable can be our senior citizens and our pets, any kind of pets that are out there. So please make sure you check on everybody today. Have a wonderful weekend, Gonzo. Thank you so much. John, thank you so much. We're going to have to all get together for a happy hour when this is all done.
There you go. Thanks again. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Go Stros. I like your hat. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.